when you move out in front of that goal crease, that man could come in awful close to you, and Anderson trying to time it, and he did perfectly, but Peters with a good concentration was able to use that big body to effectiveness and cutting the angle. Now we have a little shoving match here with Cochran and Anderson. Cochran, of course, said he's making sure that Anderson is not going to be tolerated in front of his goaltender.
Well, I think Pete Peters, in making that save, Bobby, took care of both situations himself. He made the save, and in doing such, he put Anderson head over tea kettles on his back right in front of his doorstep. But a defenseman that's an aggressive player like Cochran, he wants to leave a message, Bobby, not so much for that play. The play was already made, the save was made, but he wants to leave a message for future, I guess, altercations in front of the Flyers net. He wants to set the tempo, the tone of the game. You're just not going to stand in front of the Flyers net, in front of the goaltender, Pete Peters, and have a free whack at him, because the defensemen have got to and will move you out physically.
Tommy Gorance has just come to the bench after the shift in which he scored his second of the season, and anyone who knows Tom, likable guy that he is, knows that he's agonized a great deal this year. Sat out the most recent game with Colorado, as a matter of fact, did not even suit up, and has collected a real inspiration-producing goal that is really out of an inspired performance that we've seen thus far through the first 11 minutes. 15 seconds left, power play to the Oilers, and back ahead with this is Matty Hagman. Tapped off his stick, but he recovers. Fed the point, moving in his Coffey. Sent one in front, play for Peters, but another penalty, Philadelphia. And a slash will give the Oilers a two-man advantage for 5 seconds.
Kenny Linsman will pick up the 2-minute minor as Hagman was coming across the blue line. Linsman gave him a two-hander. And just after the two-hander, Hagman took a real solid jolt to boards from Brad Marsh. And maybe we'll be able to pick it up. Right there's the two-hander that Linsman gave Hagman, and just after that was when Hagman picked himself off the ice and a little bit of his body off the boards and glass as well. Linsman for slashing, time of the penalty, 11-10. Mike Emmerich mentioned, Flyers will be 2 men short for 5 seconds, and then they'll have to kill off the minute 55 again.
Clark, Watson, and also Fred Arthur to be the iron three in front of Peters. Messier with Anderson and Gretzky up front on the faceoff. Pete able to swing that one behind to Watson. Checked from behind by Messier. In the corner trying to dig it out, Anderson. First man dismissed from the box.
Well, the Flyers were able to do exactly what they wanted. They gained control off the faceoff and covered up in their own zone, taking 6 minutes off the time clock, thus getting Flockhart back out of the penalty box. The Flyers are only 1 man short now for 1 minute and 54 seconds. 8 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in the first period. Flyers are up by 2-0.
7-5 the shots. Philadelphia the advantage. And 2 flashy-looking goals. The Flyer advantage on the scoreboard. Coffey flips one cross ice. It plops right near, but goes by Messier. Clark able to swing it behind. Jimmy Watson checks off his man Anderson so that Arthur can play. Watson follows up. Anderson tries to keep help back from Messier, who lost to Barber, who clears. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining on the minor to Ken Linsman. Power plays are 2-1. Edmonton with the advantage there. Neither team has gotten a man advantage goal thus far. As Kevin Lowe turns away from Tom Gorance's check, fed one on to Messier, who stepped by one, then lost his footing, and Barber steps back out. Barber has Gorance along with him. That's the combo that produced the other shorthanded goal, and Gorance just taps to the corner. Ball Coffey behind, checked by Gorance, and the puck against the back of the goal, dug out and left behind for Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky maneuvers away from Gorance out at center ice. In the heels of Barber, he passes on to Anderson. Can't get it back to him, but here's Coffey with a drive that's wide. Rebound, Kevin Lowe plays at the circle, back to Coffey again. Flips one that's shunted to the ice by Arthur and cleared by Gorance. Penalty killing unit changes. Propp and Clark up front. In back, Cochran and Marsh as the Oilers bring it back up. And on the wing, Pat Hughes working on Marsh. Hughes pass intercepted by Clark. Good anticipation there, but the pass under Propp. The Oilers have to regroup. On to Hughes, who flipped it under Gretzky's stick. So back up with it, Glenn Cochran. 20 seconds left on the power play. Cochran at the Edmonton line corners it. Kevin Lowe takes there, and it's Lowe behind, flipping it off to Dave Hunter, then behind Aristo Siltanen. Siltanen with 10 seconds left in the power play. Saw that directed by a teammate back down. They ruled the Flyers could have played. No icing as Prop taps one out to Clark. Penalty time expires to Ken Lintzman as Clark plays on to Prop. In it, Prop drives, gobbled up by Lowe, and he'll hang on. Both teams at full strength. 6:45 left in the first. 2-0 Flyers.
That's one thing they'll really have to guard against, Eddie and Mike, is the Flyers taking a lot of penalties, because full strength, the Oilers have not been able to get out of their own zone very smoothly. And Flyers forechecking has hemmed it in quite often, but you keep giving team power play opportunities, and that'll give that chance for that offense to roll. Shots on goal, 8-5 in favor of Philadelphia. 2-0 the score, also in the Flyers' favor.
Prop comes on, Greg Adams comes off, so it's Flockhart with Prop, with Allison, Hoffmeyer, and Botel. And between Botel and Hoffmeyer, it's to center ice and Botel to gather it in. 6:40 left in the first. Botel clears back down. This will be an icing call and will force a face-off back near Peters.
Other action around the league. We have a couple of scores for you. First period, Islanders of Boston are scoreless. And Detroit leads Colorado 2-0. We have an update on that Islander-Boston score. It's 1-1 in the first. Detroit goal scorers are Brodnick and Curtin.
There are some hot teams in the NHL right now. Weir tried to beat Lumley, poked loose, and it's sent out by Allison toward Flockhart. Nicely by one, has Allison in front, gave to the back for Botel's shot that hit someone en route, and that was Doug Hicks. It hit him high and play a stop.
The puck was bouncing, and Botel moved up quickly with the play and just whacked at it to keep it inside the blue line. And, of course, when that puck's bouncing, it'll go anywhere.
Bobby, it looked like it may have hit Hicks just up, maybe just above the ear, as the trainer's out on the ice with the towel.
Trainer Kirby Yates for the Edmonton Oilers. Anytime it's up around the face, everyone first, at least players do, start thinking about the eye, and that's the one thing that I think players are more afraid of than anything, Eddie.
I think without a doubt, even when the two teams, actually, when a player gets hit like that, both teams are concerned. No one would like to see a player hurt from the puck, especially the eye area, Bob, because that could be, you're talking a lot of times, a career.
Either of you ever come close to having an injury like that?
Well, Mike, I'm sure everyone that probably listens to us, I know you two guys know that you think that I've got a big mouth. Well, believe me, I do have it. It wasn't big enough to swallow the puck. I tried one time, and all it did was just take out 7 teeth for me. So I've got a big mouth, but I can't swallow it.
Also about 56 or 60 stitches in the lips and tongue and gums. And he still played the game. Finished and played the game. They sewed him up, and he came back and played the game.
Defensemen aren't very smart either, Bobby.
Cochran with a drive. That one ricochets from behind low to out in front to the near point, and Marsh hung up there with Glenn Anderson. Marsh wins the duel, flipped it to the glove of Fogelin, who directed it back, but Adams has it with just over 6 minutes left in the period. That pass off Kerr, brought right back by Kevin Lowe. Between the defensemen, it's poked away from behind. Adams there. Cochran and Marsh teaming up for that maneuver. Fogelin back for the Oilers, who trail 2-0 in the game. Off Adams, it's back in. Delayed offside will now be whistled down. Chief, you didn't come close to injury at all near the eye, did you?
Well, Michael, I played all my minor hockey and 4 years of minor pro without a mask, so I got hit around the eyes a lot with deflected pucks and the chin and the head. And so I've been cut quite a bit around there.
None the worse for wear, though. There you see the, just a moment ago, Peter Miller, one of the other members of the training staff, applying ice pack to the side of the head, it appeared. So fortunately, no cut. Pass picked off and brought along by Messier. Tries to go around Marsh. Messier in front, puck off his stick. Scooped up as play continues. Reggie Leach's pass off Hagman, back to Leach, nicely to Kerr. Has Adams on his left. Kerr moves in and drops off to Greg Adams, who sent one in front, guided away by Lowe. Messier to play there, trying to get by Kerr, fed it on to Anderson, but off his stick, Messier tried to follow, but Cochran took it back. Glenn Cochran in along with Kerr, who's got a chance. The shot was slowed, and Lowe tapped it away. Rebound to the corner. Turning with it is Anderson. Fed it away up the boards now, and it's cleared, but off Greg Adams. Adams and Hagman dueling for it in the corner. Leach trying to kick it loose. He's hung up with a pair of blue shirts. Lumley trying to poke a tree. Fogelin also there. Fogelin with help now. Able to roll it along, but Marsh will take over easily and fling one in front that's off Kevin Lowe's shins. Backhander blocked by the defense, or perhaps it got through to Ron Lowe, the goalie. In the corner, 2 Oilers, 1 Flyer. Stop the clock with 4:44 left in the first. 2-0 Philadelphia.
Flyers defense are pitching in very effectively here in that first period. Marsh really made the play happen, and having set up that good scoring opportunity from Tim Kerr backhand by pitching in and keeping the puck in play, but Lowe has to be very quick, you know, and it's lucky that he has big feet too, because I was taking a look at his skates, Mike, and I'm telling you, I think Ron Lowe is the biggest feet in the National Hockey League for goaltenders. Those skates look like they're Dr. J's runners or Daryl Dawkins runners. I'll tell you, they're big.
I guess provided you don't stumble over them, it's a real asset as Arthur clears in behind goaltender Ron Lowe, the man that Chief was talking about. Puck comes along, and there's a hatchet along the boards. That will cost someone. It'll be the Oilers. Lintzman's pass. Holmgren got it back to Lintzman. In front, Barber. Oh, and Ron Lowe robbed Barber. A penalty coming up to Edmonton.
Now it's the time when Jimmy Watson should calm down and wait until Brackenbury gets back on the ice, because Edmonton is going to pick up a minor penalty, and it's going to be for high sticking. So if the Flyers can keep their cool right now, they will have their second power play opportunity. But Brackenbury took a run at Watson along the boards inside the Edmonton zone, had his stick up high. So Kurt Brackenbury, former draft pick of the Flyers,
Edmonton penalty to number 15, Kurt Brackenbury.
will pick up the second penalty for Edmonton. High sticking is the call.
Then as Jimmy Watson was pinching in, Brackenbury just got his stick up as Watson was coming into the play of the puck. Brackenbury had no intentions of playing the puck, got the stick up and took Watson out heavily against the boards, where he picks up that 2-minute minor for high sticking. So power play Flyers.
You always remember Kurt Brackenbury coming to training camp, Eddie. He, Jack McElhargy, and Steve Coates were the 3 Musketeers, it seemed, at training camp that year. They all came together, and one of the 3 last to be cut from the Flyers.
From the faceoff, Fogelin ties with Allison. Flockhart in front, Prop. Oh, another grab by Ron Lowe.
That is 2 unbelievable saves from about the same spot. First it was Barber with a quick shot. This time it was Brian Propp on an excellent feed from Ron Flockhart. The key for a lot of forwards and to beating goaltenders in that close is getting it away quickly. And both Barber and Propp did get it away quickly, but great anticipation on the part of Ron Lowe.
He faces it again as Hoffmeyer gives to Barber, off to Flockhart, behind to Propp. Allison is in front. Propp doesn't have a play there, goes to the corner to Allison. No one in front right now as Propp is behind the net. Allison drifts to the front. Oh, the pass went through. Barber a drive. 6 shatters. Loose in front. It trickled wide to the left. Propp behind the net. Looks to center, but controls now. Settling for control. He gave it behind to Allison. Kevin Lowe interrupts play there, but Propp hustles to keep it in near the blue line. Does a turnaround and nearly got through the defense, but now a diving play by Stan Weir gets the puck ahead to Fogelin. Lee Fogelin in with Gretzky. Fogelin circles behind and tucked one through the crease wide. Punched along by Allison, but kept by Hunter. Gretzky there toward the corner, defended, but Hunter able to recover, and now it's the Oilers who are chewing up power play time. Hoffmeyer deeper with a minute to go on the power play. 3:20 left in the first. 2-0 Flyers. Allison to Flockhart, who's in. Flockhart looks, wrapped up by Hunter, poked it free to Allison. Fans want a penalty, but it's back to Hoffmeyer. Leach in front as the pass goes over to Barber. Turnarounder, flip, score! Bill Barber with a power play goal. It's 3-0.
Like, I don't think that was deflected in front of the net. It may have been. Allison Lee got part of it, but it looked like Billy Barber just threw the puck towards the net. We mentioned that a couple times before, that a lot of times it's not how hard you shoot it, just get it on the net. And then Hoffmeyer got it over to Barber, head down, wasn't looking at the net, just threw it towards the net. it looked like it may have changed directions as it beat low to the stick side. Again, Barber just releases it quickly towards the net. Not much on it, but it has enough to get in behind low for the Flyers' third goal. Barber's credited with the goal.
Assist number 24, Bob Hoffmeyer. Along with number 19, Ray Allison.
Allison and Hoffmeyer picking up the assists. Hagman has to dive to poke it deeper.
The assist, Bob Hoffmeyer.
And the game plan of the Flyers has worked to perfection. They've just been all over the Oilers here in the first, out shooting them 13-5 and really keeping them to just one or two good chances in front. Pete Peters robbing Gretzky earlier in the period. Icing is going to be waved off on this one as Ron Lowe sets it up behind, but Clark is right there first with LaRiviere, and the puck is frozen. And again, play will commence in the Edmonton zone.
Mike, there's a good example of what I've mentioned a couple of times. Clark was on Riviere quickly. He had nowhere to go with the puck. He froze it, and what he did, Bobby Clark put a body check on him and knocking him down to the ice. Now the Flyers have got the face-off exactly where they want it again, down deep in the Oilers zone. The key is the forechecking, Mike. They've really been able to put the pressure on the Edmonton Oilers in their own zone. As a result, they're known for scoring a lot of goals, but they just have not been able to get that flow, that momentum going as the Flyers are on them quickly in their zone.
Clark and Hagman to test their face-off wits on this one. Wayne Bonney says enough for Hagman. So he leaves, and coming in will be Messier. Another of the Oiler marksmen is Messier from the face-off, tapped loose, shuffled ahead by Cochran to Gorance, who throws it off the boards. LaRiviere tried to drive it around. It's off Anderson, who pinches with Marsh. Behind the Edmonton net, it comes once more. They'll try the opposite side this time, and Messier takes over, has to drop back a little bit deeper. The Flyers rushing, but emerging now is Paul Coffey. Coffey working on to Messier, who's in and lets one go that's off a defenseman stick and out of play.
The Flyers defense that time, Marsh and Cochran doing an excellent job of standing up and challenging the shooter. This time Messier, as he stepped across the blue line, both defensemen were up there challenging the shooter. When the head went down, the stick went back, and the shot arrived. Brad Marsh just stepped ahead, deflected the puck up into the stands. The Flyers are doing an excellent job in the offensive zone. And when they're called upon in the defensive zone, the defense are playing well, and Peters is making the big saves for him.
Hoffmeyer to Botel, ahead to Flockhart, and Ron Flockhart shoots low, defects to the corner. Kevin Lowe unable to get to that one. Messier turned it loose behind, and here's a play for Brian Propp, wrapped up by Kevin Lowe, but Allison follows right into Propp. A shot blocked by Ron Lowe and played onto the corner by Anderson. A minute 42 to go in the period as Anderson shuttled that one off to Lee Fogelin, who tried to get one ahead, but it was by Hagman and just turned back in by Propp. So still, it is Kevin Lowe. Deep, working on him is Allison. Fogelin able to shuttle one on now up to Anderson, but it's Anderson for Messier, and just that quickly given up again. Hoffmeyer in the final minute 15. Out it comes to Ron Flockhart. Moves on Kevin Lowe. Drive, deflected, out of play, into the seats. We mentioned at the outset of the game that Boston is here Sunday, and we want to give you a phone number, perhaps at the next stoppage of play, that you can call. We can get it now. If you are a Prism subscriber and would like to purchase tickets for Sunday's game, call this number right now, 215-line-555. Those tickets will be held at the box office, or you can pick them up at the Spectrum ticket office anytime between tomorrow and Sunday's game. That number, 215-line-555. There are operators on duty. They'll take orders until the supply of tickets is exhausted. Barber back at his own line, up for Linzman, but he's defended by LaRiviere, and it's rolled right back in. Paul Coffey to get it in the final minute. 3-0 Philadelphia, leading in the game. Kerr, Gorance, and Barber with the goals. Gorance is shorthanded. Barber's on the power play. Dave Lumley sees that one bunted off the stick of Gretzky deep for Fred Arthur to play. Put it behind. Gretzky slowed up just a bit as Watson was charging, and around from Barber it came to Linzman, who dropped it back to the neutral zone. Tie up right in front of the Flyers bench. So a face-off in the neutral zone with 34 seconds to go.
Well, Jimmy Watson was playing Gretzky all the way in behind the net there, Mike, and Gretzky is fully aware of it. He just has that extra sense that he can see something actually happening or coming before it develops, and he watched Watson taking or going to play the body and just stepped out of the way.
Watson starting back up for Philadelphia and jams it in. Ron Lowe behind. Swings it away from LaRiviere. So it's deeper now for Paul Coffey to play out this side to Lumley. Lumley, watched by Barber, turns away to control at his own line. 12 seconds left in this period. Lumley takes a tumble on a check by Barber. Got it to Coffey for a weak one. Swept to the corner by Peters. 5 seconds left as Arthur gives out to Barber. He's got Holmgren up the wing. Holmgren looks for Barber, then drives it through the crease as the buzzer sounds. Quite a first period of play. 14 shots by Philadelphia. 5 by the Flyers, as you see the Oilers protesting about something to either the linesman or the referee. And it could have been that long pass that came across, we're not certain. But nonetheless, that gentleman is in charge and says no. Kerry Frazier, we've completed the first period with the score. The Flyers 3 and the Oilers nothing. Prism gives you a lot. Not just this game, but Boston on Sunday and Montreal next Thursday. But around the clock, 7 days a week. Good movies.
A blow is about to be struck for office workers everywhere.
There he is!
Revenge has never been sweeter or funnier.
You come over to my house tonight and I'll just forget the whole thing?
You are disgusting.
Is that a no?
9 to 5. As a young scientist travels deeper and deeper into his own mind, he gets closer and closer to the point of no return.
I'm asking you to put the experiment off until we understand a little more in order to minimize the risk.
Wait.
I'm really frightened.
What the hell was that?
You made it real. You can make it unreal. If you love me, Eddie, if you love me.
Altered states.
Coming up in this intermission, Bobby Taylor will be chatting with Wayne Gretzky. We'll see a special feature on Gretzky and You're the Rep. And in the second intermission, Fred Arthur will be his guest. We'll have the Prism Quiz 6 years ago this week. It was the Soviet Red Army against the Flyers, and we'll take a look at that game in retrospect going back to '76. Now downstairs to the Chief and Wayne Gretzky.
Thanks very much, Mike. And with me, as you mentioned, Wayne Gretzky. And Wayne, tonight, of course, after that hard game in Washington with that 6-6 tie, it seems he's having trouble getting your legs.
Well, we're not playing very well. Philadelphia's strength is their forechecking and their wingers. They're big wingers, and they go in the corners very hard. We're not holding their wingers up, and when we are holding them up, we're taking stupid penalties, and it's costing us. And we have to get our act together and come back strong.
Go back a little bit to Edmonton. Now, you were 5 goals short of the record. Flyers coming in, and I know obviously in your mind you didn't think that you were going to score 5 goals against Philadelphia, but was there a point in time during the game that you thought you might have a shot at it?
Well, it was a kind of a funny situation. Of course, you don't plan on scoring 5 goals against Philadelphia. They're a tremendously disciplined hockey club. And the first goal was a funny goal. It came off the board spinning, and where I was, 9 out of 10 times it wouldn't have came there. And when I put that one in, I had a feeling that it could be a lucky night, but still didn't think that I'd get 5. And then when the third one trickled through his arm, then I knew I had a chance.
Of course, everybody's talking about now, you got that 50 goals in 39 games. Everybody's talking about Espo's 76-goal record. What would it take to even come close to that record or even beat it?
Well, that's one of the hardest records in pro hockey, and if there's a record that won't be beat, that's the one. 76 goals is a lot of goals. I still have to get 22 more goals to beat the record, and with only 34 games left, that's a lot of goals. And in the last half of the season, teams played very disciplined, very defensive. I got a ways to go yet.
I have to ask you, Wayne, you're getting badgered time and time again, no matter what city you go into. How do you keep your cool? How do you be so congenial?
Well, I look forward to game days, and the day of a game I can sleep all afternoon and forget about everything. But it's part of professional hockey. It's part of the living, and it doesn't bother me.
Have you ever had a moment during the last couple of years where you said, I wished I was just an ordinary player?
Well, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with what I'm doing at No, I don't think so. I'm very proud of the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm very happy the way things are going.
You know, a lot of times, I know in business, everybody thinks about executive burnout. Here you are, 20 years old, you've set all kinds of records. Do you think that that'll ever happen to you mentally by the time you're 25?
Well, I hope not, but as years go on, it's tougher to play every game, and it's tougher to play each